Good afternoon. An day, the Committee on General Government Operations and Appropriations now called to order. Today is Wednesday, July 19, 2023. The time now is 2 o'clock. In compliance with the open government law, the notice for this public hearing were posted on the Governor of Guam public notice portal KGTF PBS channel 12 and disseminated via email to all senators and all main media broadcasting outlets on Monday, July 10th, and then again on Thursday, July 13th. The agenda this morning is Bill 26-37, COR, Committee on Rules by request of I Magaʹhågan Guåhan, the Governor of Guam, in accordance with the Organic Act of Guam, an act making appropriation for the operation of the executive branch of the Government of Guam for fiscal year ending September 30, 2024, making other appropriations and establishing miscellaneous administrative provisions. This budget hearing is related to the Guam Academy Charter School Council. At this time, I ask the members of the Guam Academy Charter School Council to please rise and be placed under oath by the Sergeant Arms. So if you can please rise. Is there anybody else, Ms. Vanji, that they may testify? If they are? Okay, everybody please stand so that we swear you in, and if you need to speak.
Please raise your right hand.
Okay.
Under penalty of perjury, do you all affirm that any and all information you provide today, whether it be verbally, electronically, and in writing, be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Mr. Chair, under the oath, you may proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The general rules for this budget hearing. Please provide my legislative staff with any documents for photocopying and distribution. Panel members are asked to remain in the room for question or for additional testimony as may be desired by members of the committee. Question and testimony shall be confined to the substance of this agenda. Personal inference as to the character or the motive of any senator or any individual testifying is not permitted. Any violation of this general rule of conduct will result in removal from the budget hearing room. Proper form and quorum shall be practiced by all present in the public hearing room for these proceedings. Individuals who fail to maintain proper form and quorum will be restricted from participating and will be removed from the room. When you speak, please make sure that the microphone is on, that you speak into the microphone. Please state your name and your title for the record. I'd ask everybody, if you've got a cell phone, put it on vibrate or turn it off. You figure out what's best for you. But we shouldn't have to be listening to anybody getting a call. Okay? I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues that have joined me this afternoon. We have Senator Barnett, the Oversight Chair for the Charter School, and also Senator Chris Duenas. Thank you. We have Ms. Vanji Cepeda, the Chair, and we have Felicita Alfonso. That's you? No, who's Felicita? Is she coming? Come on up, girl. Aren't you part of DOA? Okay, come on up and have a seat. You've already been sworn in, so that if there's any question that needs to be answered, you can answer it. And then we have Grace at Rosa. Now that's you. Okay. With that, I ask Ms. Cepeda to please go ahead and present the budget for the Charter School Councils.
Hafade, good afternoon. Senator San Agustin, Senator Chris Melafunction Barnett, and Senator Duenas. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. My name is Evangeline M. Cepeda. I am the chair of the Guam Academy Charter School Council, and I'm here on behalf of the 4 charter schools that we have on island. We are here as we discussed and met with the budget committee chair, Mr. San Agustin, that we are requesting for 7.5 for per student pupil enrollment. If I had my wish list, I'd like to go for 10. I just wanted that for the record because you know, stats and data proving that we're doing something right. And, you know, we have students, high enrollment of students that that are on the waiting list, that would like to come to one of the 4 charter schools. And so I'm saying that wishful thinking, I know money's tight. I understand that. But I like to say we're happy with 7.5. We would be more happier with a 10. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And I know you're looking at me, Senator San Agustin, but I just thought I'd put it out there because my job is to advocate for the charter schools. That is my job. And as you know, I get paid peanuts to do this, okay? And my job is to advocate for all the 4 charter schools. And I want to just say that, starting with that. With all the chaos going on right now, with that, I want to also mention for the record before we start that there may be amendments that I may be coming back to you to request an increase on the cap only for this school year, because I'm a solution solver and not going to run around in circles and wish, could have, would have done it. So I may come back to amend and request from this body that we may have a cap lifted only for this school year to kind of resolve the issues and the concerns with the school, with DOE. And because we're not anti-DOE, we want to be partners. We want to work. At the end of the day, we're serving the same children, the people of Guam. And if the parents want to send them here because this is their option, then so be it. I'm not here to hold and say, okay, Napoleon, I'm not going to take him. I'm just here to say that we got room and we've got space and we've got these fine people behind me that are willing to take them in and teach them in their schools. With that said, I'm just wanted that for the record, Senator San Agustin, and we have data to prove it. I want to also mention, I want to also mention, thank you, Senator Tello Taitigui, for being here. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And so we like to lift the cap only. As you know, I want to make this clear for the record because I don't want them to come back and say, you know, Ms. Cepeda, you said this 3 years in a row that you want to cap it. You're right. I do want to cap it. I do. But just like you as senators, you work with what you have. Sometimes things have to you have to pull, push. And in this instance, maybe a cap for only this school year be lifted so we can help the students of Guam. And these fine people back here, last minute, as of yesterday to today, have said, you know, we're willing to take these kids in. We're willing to do what works for them as long as we get funded to help them, and they're willing to do the extra work. So, and that's about close to 500 students for all of the 4 charter schools. That's 500 students that can go into the charter schools for this school year. And so with that said, I know we had a budget and we were, but you know, between the budget meeting that we had, Senator San Agustin, 3 months ago or 2 months ago, to this day, in this last 2 or 3 weeks, things have changed crazy, like every day. And so I just want to say that we want to find solutions for this, and that's one solution that I like to bring before this body. Yeah, I'm just short and sweet. Yes.
Okay. You know, Ms. Vanjie, and all the charter school that are here, folks are here, I supported you guys. And I've been supportive of the charter school. As a matter of fact, if you look at history, you really were started at what, 6,000 or was it 5,500 a student?
Yes.
And we've grown to 7,500. And all the justification that came by, it's been resolved. So I shouldn't be hearing anybody saying, we need more. No, Napara, stop. We heard you last year. We did all we could. We went even beyond what was expected. As a matter of fact, there was only one school that asked for 75 last year, and everybody else got it. Everybody was willing to work with 62 to 65 to maybe lucky 7. So anything beyond that. And then at the same token, remind you, if we look at every school here, you have a cap. You understand the cap. I understand where Ms. Cepeda is coming from. Yeah, maybe lift it a little bit for the school year. I understand the predicament everybody's in. The students of Guam are in. Some things are self-inflicted. It wasn't caused by you. I know you want to help. Great. Let's figure out how we can do that. But at the same token, I'm going to ask you, when you look at the number of students you have today, you're pretty much close to your cap, which is your capabilities to handle. To say you need to lift it, you don't have. I'm not going to prove you wrong, but I'm just going to state that based on this and the documents that's submitted since the beginning, you don't have the ability to go so far. When you say 500, I'm not going to address any specific counts, any charter school, but some of you are struggling just to get to your number. You know that. We don't need to pinpoint anybody. But But any one of you, when we want to identify, gosh, you started with very little to, I think Island's the only newest school in Guam. Everybody else is, CFA is working its way. CAG is still making sure their numbers are right. And Career Tech. Career Tech is still trying to get out of the hole they're in down in Agate. I don't know where they're at now. I'm afraid to ask. Still in Agate, right?
Yes, sir, still in
Okay.
Agate, and doing well, I may say, at 60. We started at 1960. So doing well. You know, no news is good news, right? So you don't hear anything bad about Career Tech. That is great news.
Oh, no.
All the things that in the news have been bad.
Ms. Vange, I'm not
Yeah.
questioning any of them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I've always supported charter school,
Yes.
but there's got to be a threshold where we stop. I see the auditor back there, and he knows where I'm coming from. When we're talking about numbers, let's not play with the numbers too much because you can only go so far. I mean, what's going to be the next issues later? Raise my cap, but you know you got to give me more money because not only the cap, but because I can't pay my teachers. No, stop.
Yeah.
Figure your numbers. Make sure you know what you're going to ask for. Because when Ms. Cepeda is going to be working with the oversight chair and saying, we need to lift the cap, we understand you want to help the students in general. 500 students is a good jump, but it's a serious jump. And one of the biggest issues you're going to be faced with is that as the inspection is going on with those schools, you also will be inspected. You will also be expected to follow the same standard.
Yeah.
Because you're a public school. You're funded by the Governor of Guam. You're not
Senator,
exempt.
just so you know that, we've also taken a look at that, like the number of student per restroom per student pupil. We've taken a look at it. That's why I know, like I learned, for example, they can only take a capacity of 60 at the most, 35 to 60, because that's what we were just discussing, the restroom and all that.
Vanji, you don't have to justify anything right now because it's not an issue. We're talking about your current budget. Whatever you want to justify, put it in writing, submit it to the oversight chair, then he'll communicate that to me for budget purposes. I talk in numbers. I don't talk in, you can give me all the rationale you want. It don't mean anything to me because why? When I look at numbers, I deal in reality. And and Senator Burnett knows. He always calls this that I'm tight with money. Why? Because I don't just spend. I don't just spend it because it sounds good. Sounds good never works out. It's got to be either good. It's almost like starfish, huh? If it looks good, it tastes good. We hope so. But with that, you got the $7,500 per student. There's a set budget already set.
Thank you.
There wasn't any real disagreement.
Okay.
We're just going to move along. Any other issues that you may ask to amend, send it to Senator Barnett. He will introduce the bill to make the amendment appropriately. Because we still got another school that may be applying.
Yes.
Okay, so I say, handbrake, slow down.
Okay.
You're ready to start. When does your school start?
They start August 14, August
Okay.
9th, August.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're going to open.
Good. Well, I'll see it.
Yes.
I'll come and visit because I visit pretty much
Yes, we
everyone.
welcome you, senators, to please come on the opening. And we welcome you to come when the school opens. We do. We welcome you. It'd be nice to be there.
Oh, yeah. I don't visit during openings. I visit throughout the year. Okay, and I know some of you have seen me down there. I just walk in just to see what it looks like. As long as the government is paying for it, every senator is welcome to go and visit it at any given time.
And Senator, can I say this to you? In all due, I passionately spoke to you earlier today.
That's
I
right.
said to you, I understand the budget's tight. I do. I understand, and we're a small little fish in a big ocean. We are the small fish. We are the small fish, and so a lot of times we're not acknowledged or forgotten, and it's the truth. But I want to say something. We may be small in size, but I like to say that we want to remain noticed, okay? We want to make sure, we're not asking for anything more. We're asking for the 7.5, and it was the same as last year, and we appreciate it. When we worked with it, we didn't complain. We were thankful, We were appreciative to this body. All I'm saying is that our team caters to the children of Guam. And so I will, just so you know for the record, I will make an amendment in August to Senator Barnett, to his committee, so we can do the cap and find and be a part of the solution moving forward. And it's only for this school year. You know, a lot of them, the parents are going to these schools, and it breaks their heart to turn them away or put them on the hold, or you know. And so I'm not putting any false pretenses. That's what we're going to do as the council, is to find some sort of solution and put them in there and ask for the 7.5. I was saying my wish was the 10, and that's not realistic, so I understand that. I was just putting it out there. And
Good. Thank you, Ms. Cepeda.
you're very welcome, sir.
Last
I really
year you
appreciate
started
it.
with 6 and you went to 7.75.
I know, but
so
it's
let's move along, Ms.
Thank
Cepeda.
you.
Enough's enough. I'm not going to consider 10, so forget about
Absolutely.
it.
Thank you.
I'm not going to consider that because I got to look at the whole Gov Guam.
Yes.
And when you said you're a small fish, yes, you're an aquarium.
Yes,
Let's get you to the pond.
Yes.
Let's move you out.
yes,
But let's work with what we got.
yes.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if any other colleagues of mine have ever visited your schools, but I've visited.
But it's for the
everyone.
record, I know it's not you because you're not you're the numbers guy. But I want to say, since our chair's here, we have advocates of the charter school senators that are here. Yeah. Thank you, Senator Kanata, for being present. I like to say that the charter schools, just so you know, in the last 4 years, we've removed all prior year obligations that you wanted, sir.
Thank
The only
you.
thing we have is CFA, that we are close to working it out and hopefully get it done in the next few months. Our legal battles with GAC has been resolved, okay?
Okay.
And I know that was a big bone with you, and we've resolved that, just so you know that. So that's been resolved.
So
Drawdowns are coming in, and they're given to each of the schools. They're moving as quickly as possible, and thank you to DOA and their staff. I got to say that because it's a team effort. And I also want to mention that with the charter schools, each of the charter schools, they're all accredited. So, like I mentioned to the AG, I said, you're right, we have a lot of teachers that are not certified. We have a lot of teachers that are certified, like the private school. But we are accredited. And all, you know, so that's the great news. And I just wanted to put that out there because I know you're very big on certain things. So I wanted to put it out there before I bring the other charter schools up before you, and then they can defend and justify whatever questions, sir.
I don't think they have nothing to defend.
Okay.
We're pretty good. Submit your official report in reference to all the prior obligation, everything that's squared away and where we're at.
Okay.
Once you submit it, then I can provide it to all the colleagues so they can put closure to certain things that were brought up last year. And with that, I really don't have any questions. I'm happy to entertain the charter schools, and I'm not asking any of you to speak. But I'm going to ask, I'd like to recognize Senator Telo Tairigui and Senator Roy that joined us. I'm going to ask the oversight chair if you have any questions, because I'm happy with the charter school.
Me too. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But I just did want to ask, generally, I'm not a numbers guy, but I did hear this morning in doing my calls to the different public schools, I heard from a northern elementary school that 5 students were withdrawn to be enrolled over at one of the charter schools. So I don't know if you're seeing a lot of that, and I know that's kind of like the reason why you're asking about lifting the cap, and I know this kind of came up in the Attorney General's roundtable yesterday, but just to kind of get an accurate read, I'm not asking for definite numbers, but would you say, just generally speaking, that that's happening across the board with a lot of the charter schools?
Absolutely, sir. It is. And there is a waiting list, and there's more. And they're even calling me up and asking me to put them. I said, unfortunately, I don't get into all that. I leave it to the professionals to go there, apply, call, and take it from there and let them do their jobs. That's how I handle it. But yes, there is a large number that are not coming from off-island. They're on-island, transitioning, wanting to go to one of the charter schools, if not all, you know.
Is that, in your opinion, because I know that you guys have been on a steady multi-year upward trend with your enrollment, right? And it's because I know you guys are a successful and desirable alternative for a lot of parents and families out there, right? An alternative to the public school system. But would you say that this is part of that continuing trend, or would you say, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer, that it's impacted by all of the recent news about the uncertainty of when public schools will be able to open?
Well, I'm going to say we seem to be a reactive community. You know, we're not a proactive. It's the truth. We are a very reactive community. So this happened, this is systemic. This happens, everybody's reacting. And I'm just saying that I think it's a little of both, okay? I think people are opening their eyes, that they're not more tunnel vision, and okay, the DOE system, it's not bad, not bashing DOE. Myself and the senator came from DOE. We were elected board members. I'm saying that parents are being more open-minded to other ways of learning. And so charter schools is one option. And because a lot of them, bless you, Senator, because a lot of them can't afford to pay for private school. Their option is the charter school. And so I think it's a little of both, to answer your question. I think it's the trend, and at the same time, I think parents are reacting. Okay, school's going to start, where I'm going to put my kids, all this. So I think it's a little of both.
Yeah, because this was a phase 3 elementary school. But are you able to say, and again, nothing specific, but which of the charters is receiving the most attention, I guess?
Yes. We're getting a lot for iLearn, a lot. iLearn is in Dededo. We're getting a lot from iLearn. We're getting now starting a large number from CIFA and GAC, because GAC is all the way until 12th grade. Considering Career Tech is down south, it caters to certain people, but the demand is high. We're finding more high schoolers wanting to take that route. Before, when the Career Tech started out, and they started out with 7, it was 7 for a whole year. We were kind of afraid. Okay, they just started. Oh my God, it's not going to move. And it went from that up, because once they started pushing it and promoting it, despite it being down south, the numbers are growing, and they've got the data to prove that. So,
I don't know why you keep saying despite it's down south.
Because, you know,
that's a bonus.
You're right.
South.
My mom is from Malessa, so I understand. But here's the problem. Yeah. The transportation is a big problem.
Right, yeah.
And so even the barrier of a transportation, parents are willing to take their children down there. So just the fact of that, and then the lunch, they don't provide lunch. That's another factor. The fact that they don't provide lunch to a Career Tech, and the transportation, which is a barrier, they're still attending.
Right.
So that tells you something,
Yeah.
you know.
Tells me that young people and families are interested in like trades education.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
Correct.
And I was so humbled they asked me to be the keynote speaker at their graduation. And just looking at and it was a small graduating class, but looking at the diversity of the students, it was really encouraging, because I've always been, I think we need more trades in all the schools, to include the public schools, because it's realistic, you know what I mean? Not all of our kids are going to, be YouTube superstars, right? We need the plumbers, the electricians, the people that do the work. So thank you. No more questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Senator.
it. Thank you, Senator. I'd like to also recognize, joined us, Senator Amanda Shelton.
Hi, Senator.
My Vice Chair, Senator Tello, you have any questions or comments for the panel?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to my colleagues, and of course, those who are here today. Thank you so much for all your hard work. I'm your biggest fan, but I also want to make sure that you stay in check too, because, I will ask you questions. I will call you out if something's going awry. You know that of me. But, I have such a great respect on those teachers actually who are working in the charter schools, because I truly believe you have the teachers who really want to make a difference in a child's life. It's not about the money. It's about making a difference, and I God bless them all, for doing that, and especially the support staff. Vanjie, I, of course, am your biggest fan, and appreciate you advocating. I'm sure everyone here today is like, yeah, you go, Angie, you do it, not me. I'm going to sit back here. And you're doing a great job. If there's any more funding that I'm going to advocate on the floor, I'm going to talk to the chair, and I'm going to push it, because inflation has hit our island big time. It has hit us, and if we're going to stay at 7,500, that's not going to cut it. We're shortchanging, these children who are actually passing tests. We have an issue right now on Guam where we have people trying to get jobs, like in the police force. They can't even pass the test because they can't read, they can't do math. And here we have a viable source of education that has been proven time and time again of students graduating from charter schools that actually go to college, that actually can pass tests. So if we can't continue to shortchange the charter schools, we need to increase the amount that's given to charter schools. Now, it was mentioned earlier, I saw the online with the Attorney General, and two things came to point that I thought was a good idea. One was that some of the schools in DOE that are having issues that need to be repaired, but some part of the other school does not, and it's viable and can be used. That's an alternative. But the greatest idea is taking those students into the charter schools that are willing to go. So one thing I didn't know is that the capacity of these charter schools, what are the capacity? Can you kind of go down the list and tell me what is the capacity and the teacher ratio? If you meet that capacity, what is the teacher ratio?
Okay, so thank you, Senator. Okay, so we were discussing this because the AG's meeting was just yesterday.
Right.
So we got immediately to get all this data and information. So the charter schools, each of the charter schools, basically the capacity to meet, again, the mandate of student per classroom, restroom, all the requirements under public health as well. And so, and the building. And so with each of them, what it is, so like I'm giving an example, like I Learn, they can move up to increase to 45. That's the max, 45 students.
45 students, okay.
And that's the max to meet, again, the requirement of public health and all the other requirements under the Government of Guam. And then we have CIFA, which the capacity is 135. They can't go beyond that. And we have Career Tech 70. And then we have GAC, which is 100.
GAC.
And that is the capacity that we can, if assisting the DOE students, they can transfer, and these are the capacity that we can add to the charter school temporarily in this process.
It's not that it's not that many.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised that parents are already enrolling the kids into the charter schools because it's an environment. So the question I have before I continue on that is, you have the capacity. If it's there, I'm going to add this up and see how much to cover this. But have these schools passed and gotten their sanitary permit?
Our schools, from what I was informed, all of them do.
All of them have their it's
That's
a
correct.
safe environment, not only for your students, but your teachers as
Yes,
well and your support
absolutely.
staff. So all of them have passed.
Yes.
This is a no-brainer, people.
Yes.
We've got to support the charter schools. They're willing to step up.
So I'm letting you know that that's why that number is, because they're basing it on the mandate requirement for public health and all the other requirements, the building code and all that others with regards to the safety of the students and the workers.
You talk about a cap. What is your cap?
Oh, okay, so our cap, okay. So our cap for GAC is 765.
But we were talking about capacity for GAC
Yes.
was only 100.
Yes, so 100, so what it is that can meet the facility, the mandate. We're using the cap because the cap is the safe haven. We don't like to exceed. We like to work within that cap.
Okay, let me just try and understand this,
Okay.
Vange. Okay, let's go to the Guam Academy Charter School.
Yes.
The student cap is 760. I just asked you, based on the school itself, GAC, where, Guam
Correct.
Academy School, you're saying that the capacity is only 100.
100. To add.
On top
Plus,
of the 700.
on top of it.
Oh,
On
so
top of
this,
it.
ne. Oh,
Yes,
okay,
that's on top
okay.
of the students
So
that may
it's
transfer.
actually 800.
Correct.
And okay, so let me just add these numbers to it. So it's 800.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
865 to be exact.
865 to be exact.
Yes.
And the total cap is 750 for iLearn Academy, and you can add in an additional
45, which would be 785 is the cap. It would be 785 to
Okay.
include the added students if we take them in.
Okay, and then science,
Then CIFA
yeah.
would be, it's right now, current cap is 350.
Okay.
With the max would be 485, Senator.
Okay, 485. Thank you, thank you. Okay, 485.
Yes.
And then, of
And then
course,
career tech is 70,
Okay.
and the proposed would be 140.
140
140 students.
So that being said, it's a total of additional 345
Yes, give or take, yes.
vacancies that, and and how many, I mean, the chair probably of education would probably could tell me how many students are without a school right now by August 7th.
Yeah.
How many? We're talking about thousands
Yes.
of students are without a school, and all the charter schools have left is only 345 left vacancies. People, are you watching of Guam? You better get your kids over there right away before it fills up. So there is no reason why this legislature, considering the situation and the one that you've been pleading since you've been sitting there, the situation we are in this year, we can't accommodate. We have to. It's our responsibility to place these kids in a safe environment and with teachers who really care about having their kids learn to read, to write, and math. So it's a no-brainer. 345 is all you're asking for,
Yes, ma'am.
not the thousands of students who are not going to be able to attend school come August 8th. So I don't see any issue. You met Senator Brown. They met all the requirements in a sanitary permit. They all have it. It's, I'm just so shocked about this. And yet we're sitting here debating about whether we should, no, this is ridiculous. Of course we can help them. You have parents, how about teachers, by the way, Vanjie? I mean, I'm pretty sure a bunch of DOE teachers are pretty fed up, especially since they didn't even receive their 22%. How many teachers are coming on board to charter schools now?
We don't have a lot because they don't pay well. I'm not
Right.
going to sit here. We don't have a lot, but for those that want to do better, work for less, and are willing to do it, they come over, and we're happy to have them. And it's now a matter of keeping them, and so they're very innovative, and they, other than money, less stress. That's a factor, right? I mean,
Yeah.
less stress, going home much happier and not as intense. Those are factors that money can't buy. So we push on those. We push in those factors, and they do a very good job in doing that.
Okay, so the thing I would like to stress is for the recruitment of more teachers in that area, especially, if we can do something to augment that or to offer something at all that you can come up. You have great ideas, Vanjie, on incentivizing, that we got to do, incentivize, but I think that we need to look at the cost of living, how it's increased, how everybody's gone up, prices have gone up, and there is no reason why we should stay stagnant with the $7,500 per student, when we're paying almost $12,000 in DOE. And right now, it doesn't matter how much we're paying there because students don't even have a place to go to learn. And we all know that, face-to-face is the better option.
Yes.
Much better option than online learning. So that being said, Mr. Chair, you know where I'm going with this, sir. I haven't asked for anything, since this budget bill. And I will be asking for this to lift the cap, to allow them, and also add, because of inflation, I think we can add a little bit more. And considering this year, especially this year, that it's really needed. So I greatly appreciate your consideration too, as well as my colleagues, to please, think about where we can we have a place to put our children, at least 345 students more, very small. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
Understood.
Senator.
And thank you. Wait until they ask you, Vanjie, okay? Don't speak. Just relax, Vanjie. You're doing good. We were on the Board of Education for a while, so I know where she's coming from. Just calm down now. As my other colleagues speak, okay, and I also recognize Senator Brown that also joined us. Just be mindful, okay, because we talked about this in the past. When you ask for an increase of people, don't make the excuse next year, you know what, we need more money because we need a bigger building. Wrong answer. Be mindful of what you're asking for. I'm in full support of charter school, but I'm not going to lead you down the road to make the excuse for where you failed. Self-inflicted, okay? You want something, make sure you're able to do it. 3 questions I've always asked everybody: where you at, where you want to go, how can I help you? If you can't answer those 3, just sit where you're at and don't talk. Relax, enjoy the ride. I'd ask now Senator Duenas if he has any questions or comments, but I'm here to support you. And I know most of you all know that. Thank you.
This is my seat, Mr. Chairman. I guess, and thank you to the panel for being here and everyone else who's joined. You know, this is probably one of the, I don't want to say easy, but probably one of the more straightforward budget processes, because you have, you know, very simply put, you have a number of students for your capacity and your caps, and then you have a per pupil, and do the math, and it's straightforward. So there's really not a lot of questions. I think that one observation that I'll make is, you know, I just learned this when I opened its new campus, but I think there is not only now a paradigm shift going on, but a paradigm shift since the charter school started, simply because of the success. I was amazed to learn when I went there to the opening of the school, to know that it started with 7 teachers and around 50 students, and now its capacity, its current cap, is at 745 and able to go to almost 800 students. That is, and over, I believe, close to 60 teachers now, correct? So that is 35, okay. But with the capacity, I think it would start inching upwards as well. So, I mean, that is just a demonstration, I think, of kind of the paradigm shift that we're in, and it's a result of the success. So we'll work with the chairman to see what the issues that can be addressed for capacity. But I think in the interim, too, this is what is going to be important as you grow. You know, perhaps you can set it up for yourself that, you know, get to the halfway mark when you know, the school year, you see your growth pattern, you see what you're going to need to do to expand. I know that particularly with iLearn, I mean, you had to go through the grant process and the other things to be able to get that facility and that capacity to be able to have, you know, the campus for the school children and the like. So I think maybe, you know, this is just going to be par for the course now, the outgrowth, and I think it's going to be important to take the initiative to report back to the committee, you know, what are your plans and what are your thoughts for expansion? Because obviously, I mean, we could double your cap right now, but obviously that would be unrealistic. We'd be making a false promise to the public, right? Because they would think, all right, you know, now there's 3,000 student capability, but no, there won't, because you don't have the campus, you don't have the teachers, you don't have the infrastructure. So I just wanted to kind of maybe throw that out, that you know, maybe have, as the Guam, you know, charter school head, maybe kind of start putting in, you know, a semi-annual review of your growth capacity so that we can manage this. Because I do think that regardless, there is going to be continued this paradigm shift, and that Department of Education is going to start to you know, share its population. We know that they've gone from 32,000 students now to around 26. Obviously, you're one of the impacts there, you know, a major impact. So the others probably off island, maybe into other private schools. So it's already started. And so it's something I think we can anticipate. And maybe one thing I want to leave also, you know, a thought process with this too is maybe what's going to happen eventually too is you start looking at capacity of certain schools, and start working with them to blend. And so that's another opportunity as well as you grow. So it's not a bad thing. I think it's a natural outgrowth. I think nationwide you're going to see a lot more of this as well. I've had a lot of calls to my office and personal calls to me from different teacher groups that are retired that are considering, maybe they'll come to you first, hopefully, but they're considering doing group homeschooling and asking what might be those opportunities. That'll be something down the line, of course, once again, but I guess that's all the only comments that I have, just because, like I said, you are one of the very unique formula-based budgets that it's straightforward. Number of kids, what's the amount? Pass the budget, make sure your allotments are there. Hopefully everybody's happy. But you have the outcomes to show that, that it's working. So you have my support for the budget. Like I said, and it's just up to what number we land on, because aside from that, it's straightforward. As far as increase per pupil, that'll be another debate as well. But as we stand, you have my support, and thank you for all your hard work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Roy?
Ms. Cepeda, you're definitely a fired up chick. So I don't think you don't have any questions from me. I certainly support the charter school. It's been a very accountable operation, and I think we can see more fruitful children come out of that community. So I'm definitely in support of you guys' budget. I'll make sure that the chairman supports it. Don't worry. Have a good day. Thank you guys. Keep up the good work.
Senator Shelton? Thank you, Senator Guåhan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Cepeda and the team and all of the charter schools for being here today. We've certainly seen the success of charter schools in our community, everything that you've put on display during Charter School Week, all of the awards and accolades that your students continue to win, and we have them here in the legislature. We see them out in the community. We're very proud of the work the charter schools are doing and the successful example that you're setting for all of our schools across the island. Thank you very much for that. I was looking at the budget requests that came in, and I think very reasonable, very supportive of what you're all asking for. I wanted to ask, though, there are increases for contractual services across the board. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Where are those contractual service funds going to?
Senator, thank you for the question. Okay, I don't know the details, but I will tell you this because I work in property management. Contractual work since COVID is scarce. Everything has increased because of the export of everything, just about everything. So the contractual, what you could find 2 years ago, which was $2,000, is up to almost $6,000, just for the materials and labor. And then the scarce, not everybody wants to do that and wait for the money to come in. Some people want quick fix, the contractors. I mean, they have to pay themselves and pay others. So this is a factor, the increase. If you're talking about a specific school, for example, I'd like them to come up and maybe defend their reasoning. I mean, that's what I would recommend, Senator.
That's okay. I know that everyone has a little bit of an increase for contractual services. Right. So I understand the need, whether it's maintenance and taking care of your campus, as long as it is something that is going directly to the benefit of the students, whether that's contracts for certain teachers or positions. I just want to be able to account for that.
Senator, so when I first came on board as the vice chair, I spoke with Mrs. Edrosa from DOA, and we discussed that in general. They're very detailed when the drawdown. They're very detailed. If there's any questions, it's pending, and then we ask them for more details. So all the documents, it goes through us, we review it. So before they would provide this, we do, under the direction of DOA, to provide like the public law, the requirements, and they do provide that to us. So we have all the documents in file of all the breakdowns and where it's going to. And I totally agree with you with regards to the spending and that it go directly to the school to impact the children. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. Because we can see it clearly, an increase in utilities. That's understandable for everyone across the board in the government of Guam. Every budget, we're seeing that. And so whatever it's going to for these miscellaneous or contractual services, maintenance services, We just want to be able to account for those monies going to our students and benefiting them.
Yes.
So thank you very much for that. I know that you are doing the due diligence, and I'm glad to see DOA here assisting, because we did provide for that in the budget previously after there were many asks from the council to help provide that support after the rapid growth of all of the charter schools over the last several years, to provide that to you and to your council to be able to do the work to support the kids. So thank you very much to DOA. I know that that money that we appropriated is being used well. You're here.
We hired someone.
Yes, you have someone on board. I'm glad to see that. That was one of my questions, but it's shown here today. So thank you very much for all of your work. I look forward to supporting your budget.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Shelton. Senator Brown, do you have any questions or comments for the panel?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think you notice a total different climate from our budget hearing with DOE, which is a good thing, but I just want to relay, I mean, keep doing what you're doing that makes you exceptional. You know, we see that the charter schools and the private schools on Guam, you know, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the children are well educated, that they have the foundation that they need to move in whatever direction their future that they want. And having their basic educational skills is critical. I think DOE over the years, unfortunately, has gotten to a point where they're so big, they're inefficient, and they cannot respond when they need to. And the focus is everywhere, and yet we're not seeing the quality of education that we'd like to see for our children. And that's really unfortunate, because without those skill sets, you know, what future are our children going to have? We always say, if you have the education, no one can take that from you. That's something they can always build upon. And we are getting very inefficient in our ability to deliver. We're pouring more money in, and yet the outcomes are not there. So I hope that you keep that in mind. Please don't go in the direction of trying to emulate. Because I have said to DOE, I would ultimately want to see Department of Education phased out. I want to see this type of energy that I see in the charter schools and I see in the private school. I mean, my child attends a private school. And during the day, I am up to date on what my child is doing, because my teacher informs me and the other parents. So when I get home, I have a conversation, because I know, did you go to the library today? Did you have your sports today? And they're able to do that and educate my child. I do pay tuition, but it's far less than what we're paying into the DOE system. And if we can't deliver that, then what's the point? And I think that's something, the challenge that DOE has, that it's become so big that the focus is no longer on the primary mission of educating the children. And getting them prepared. And that's what we want to see. And then finding what their unique talents are and supporting that. So, because once you have that dynamic happening at that young age, you can almost guarantee the success of that child in the future, regardless of, you know, whatever career choice they choose to fulfill. If they have a sense of self-confidence, they know they're doing good in school. You don't have to be the A student. You can be the B student or the C student. But you know, if they feel good about themselves, that really makes, and they have a sense of community. You know that probably they're going to keep in contact even with their classmates. Nowadays, I mean, I graduated from high school almost 41 years ago, and we still, you know, we're in our 40th, I think it's our 40th anniversary this year. We still keep in contact. And I'm sure the young people now, because they have the communication capability, will do that. And, you know, we're seeing the outcomes, and we like that. We want to make sure to see those test scores. And you guys all do it for less. That's what's even more impressive. You're able to do it for less. And so I have no questions. I mean, of course, we're keeping an eye on all of you, but in a good way. I mean, we want to see you to continue to grow and be successful. I hope as time, you know, you're asking to increase your cap of students. And as you grow, hopefully, like I said, I would like you to be in direct competition with DO, because I think we need to do better than what we're doing with the existing system. I don't understand, and I've done some major operations in this government, I do not understand if the boundaries of your facility is a school, I don't care if it's the largest campus on Guam, why we're in the state that we're in. Because I know if I was managing it, I'm not going to go, oh, look at me, but I've done the heavy lifting. And when I don't see it replicated with others out there, I'm you know, really scratched, because, oh, DOE Central didn't respond, blah, 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 and I'm going, gosh, if I have to go clean the bathroom and get out the bush cutter, I can do it. If I got to go get, you know, the saw out there and cut the wood, and I can do it. And I don't understand why that doesn't happen. I don't know if it's a lack of community, a lack of support, but I've been here long enough to see we pour so much money in, we pour even more much, and it's never enough. And it never, you know, can't get the basic things that we want to see just in the safety and the maintenance of the facility. I mean, the bathroom should never be an issue. You know, safe classrooms should never be an issue. Having quality teachers, and especially when I look at your salary compensation for your teachers, compared to I look at the DOE schedule, I don't hold anybody against their success or what they earn. I have no issues with that. But what a difference. And yet, the test scores, that's what we want to see. The productivity of these children, the test scores are higher. That's what we want to see at the end of the day. And I commend you guys. That's why I said, please don't emulate the system. Some of you have come from DOE. I spent 9 years in public school on Guam. And I enjoyed I never thought I'd go to private school, but when I got to high school, the quality of education was not to my expectation, and I asked to be put in private school. Thank God. I don't think I'd be as successful as I've been if I hadn't done that. So I wish you well. I have no questions for you. I mean, just continue to be responsible with your resources and continue to produce those students and the test scores that we want to see, and I think we'll all be good. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Brown. Mrs. Cepeda, we're going to go ahead and end the budget,
Thank you, sir.
submit the documents, information, because we're going to need it. Okay?
Yes, sir.
If you want to grow, be ready to move so you can grow.
Understood.
You plan on staying in the same place, you know what your facility's capacity is. Don't kid yourself, especially if you got a grant.
Yes.
Grant ain't going to change.
Understood.
You got years to pay it off. I know Ms.
No.
Ms.
And
Cashier's
we're
looking at
realistic.
me
We're
like-
very realistic here, sir. We really are. We're thinking small. I mean, we're thinking big, but we work within the small budget. And these people,
We'll help you in what you need, okay?
Thank you.
There is not one
I
senator
appreciate
here
it.
that's against
We
the
do.
charter school. Vanjie, relax. We're going to help the chart. We've been this body for the past 3 or 4 years since I've been in the budget has been helping charter school. We're going to help you,
I really
but you
do
got to
appreciate
help yourself.
yes. Yes,
Don't
sir.
let us be the reason why you exist. You exist because for students. It's about the children of Guam. It's not about the legislature.
Yes.
We're here to help you. Okay? And with
Senator,
that,
can I say one more thing in
How about that,
closing?
Ms. Santi?
No, I do. I really need to say this because I'm not here to bash anyone, okay? I need to say this. It's not my character. I'm not here to bash DOE. I think the teachers there are amazing. I'm going to say this because I'm not running for a higher office. A lot of it is the parents. You know, they leave it to the school system, they leave it to the legislature, they leave it to GPD, they leave it to somebody else. And we have a lot of lousy parents. I'll say this, I'm not running for office. They have a lot of lousy parents, okay? And it's unfortunately that nobody can call them out. There are. I'm a single mother. I raised a son and a daughter. Raising a boy without a father is difficult when they become teenagers. It was a lot for me to deal with. I'm expressing this, you know this. But I was a very firm parent. I was not the typical mom. I was not a bully, but if need be, discipline was needed, you were disciplined. I didn't leave it to GPD, and I didn't leave it to the school system. I came in, I was a parent, I said, if I have problems, we're going to resolve it. I owned up to it. And I think a lot of parents don't do that. And a lot of it is, you know, I need to say this in defense to DOE and to the charter schools. A lot of it is the parental. We have parents that are horrible parents, parents that have these children, and they're neglected. And you know this, that when we were DOE, their safe haven was school. This is where they ate. This is where they were more free. There was abuse at home, hunger, neglect. We can go on and on and on. It exists. And so we have a community, we have a broken community. That's what we do. We have a broken community. And it doesn't require a nuclear family. Myself and the senator, for example, you know, we're raising our kids on our own. We raised our children on our own. I'm just saying that I'm not here to bash DOE. DOE, God forbid, they're working with the damages. Very systemic. It's a broken system, and they're trying to work with it. It's a large system. You know, it's the Pacific Ocean, and we are in that aquarium, little tiny aquarium. I'm just saying that that's why I've always firmly believed on the cap for charter schools, because if you keep it small, you keep you can pay attention to the small details. And the only reason why we were offering to lift this only for this year is to help find a solution to this. And so I just want to say to DOE, because, our counterparts, I communicate with them a lot, and a lot of them I feel for, and a lot of them, but at the same token, a lot of them are spoiled. The teachers should be in the classroom. I've said this to the charter schools, okay? If you have teachers in the office, we got a problem. The teachers should be in the classrooms at the end of the day. They shouldn't be at central office, PC4s. Put them in the classroom. Because then I always say to the charter school as well, is this. I'm not here to be your EEO or anything like that. You're adults. The first priority should be the children that you're serving. The second is your staff. We're grown-ups. We have thick skin. But the children, who's going to defend them if they have a lousy mom? Sorry. Okay? They come to school for 6 hours, and all I'm saying is that a lot of it is that. And so in defense of that, we have a system that's broken and needs to be fixed, and it's not going to be overnight. But we can't keep blaming all of DOE, because DOE is a big problem. There is a lot. There's a lot of duplicate work, a lot of overpaid people, a lot of entitlement, whatever you may call it, okay? I know a lot of people that get paid far less for far more. I'm just saying that for those that work there and are dedicated, I salute them. And unfortunately, they're not always the recognized ones. And it's like the 10% of the bad apples in the government of Guam, and the 90 of them are hardworking and steadfast. So I just want to say that for the record, sir, that we're not here to bash DOE, but I want you to recognize that it is a lot of work over there, and we're just a part. We want to be a part of the solution, the charter schools.
And I thank you, Ms. Pera. And you guys are. You guys are. You've always been since you first started. And I've always supported it. And with that, we're going to end this one, okay? There's no one else to present any comments on the budget hearing. The committee will close this hearing. Again, I want to thank everyone, every charter school. I know pretty much everybody here, for attending this hearing and for providing feedback and suggestion. Thank you, Mr. Pera. The Guam Academy Charter School Council budget hearing is now adjourned. The time now is, oh, this is quick, 2:56. Please be safe. Take care of our students. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.